business and get better results. So that's what we're talking about today. If you're brand new to me, my name is Susan McVeigh. I'm a married mama of two and a business sales and wealth strategist. And here on this channel, we talk about all things related to business and entrepreneurship, which includes sales and money with faith and family thrown in the mix. So this was a conversation that was started yesterday because there was a question that was asked around ideas for faceless videos. And I answered, but then realized that I couldn't just answer that one piece because it's part of a bigger piece. So regardless of where you are in your business journey, chances are that you want to make money without having to sacrifice your freedom, which includes your time and your peace of mind. That chances are you want to build your business so that you are able to live the life that you want and not have to be stuck at your desk or your computer or beholden to any one particular client or types of clients in building your business. The other thing that I know from working with clients is that as you grow and scale, that it can be very tempting to do all the things and to follow all the pursuit and passion that comes before you. But that leads to burnout and that leads to you being resentful of the business that you're building. And it means that you're working way harder than you need to. And often as entrepreneurs, we love what we do so much that we have decided to forego the 9 to 5 and then flip into being our own boss, only to be the worst boss that we've ever had, and then be driven to working almost 24/7. So if any of that resonates with you, then you're in the right place. And we're going to be talking about what that looks like, or on the flip side, how not to do that in order to be able to truly live a life of freedom and build a freedom-based business that produces results that is simple and easy for you to run and also gives you a lot of fun, enjoyment, right? So I had discussed yesterday that I was going to talk about the power of the 5 ones. Now, this is not my concept, probably popularized by Alex Hormozi, but honestly, this was way before Alex, because the truth of the matter is that when you focus on things that actually matter and you focus on the things that will give you the biggest lift and you give it enough time, which I've talked about ad nauseum here on this channel, that sometimes it's just a matter of not timing the market, but time in the market. And so in your business, oftentimes what ends up happening is that we have not given the things that we want to do enough time to just build up steam and for us to gain mastery over the skills that are required to see the kinds of results that we want. We just quit too early. So I'm going to give this to you in the context of these 5 ones, which I actually have taught inside of my paid program Sales Mastery Society way back in, like, I want to say 2018. Expanded it, fleshed it out, but I'm also going to connect it to my methodology, which is called the 3 Ps to profit. So we're going to start there, and then we're going to connect it to this concept of 5 ones, a simplification method in order for you to hone in on exactly what you need to do in order to produce results inside of your business, aka sales, clients, customers, all that good stuff. Now, hello, Anderson. Before I get too far into it, I need to put a caveat out there. I'm making an assumption that you actually produce a good or a service, a product that delivers what it is that you tell people that they're buying, okay? So if that's not you yet, which is okay, don't judge yourself, get better at your craft. And sometimes that means that you're taking a job or jobs that help you to hone those skills so that you can make sure that you're getting the kinds of results that your customers want. Because if you're selling a bunch of stuff that doesn't produce a result, and that's not to say that you can't make a mistake, because you're human, it's okay. But if you know that you cannot get the results that you are trying to sell for your customers, then your primary goal is, I need to get better at the thing that I'm selling. I need to make sure that the thing that I sell actually does what it needs to do. It doesn't matter if you're producing widgets. It doesn't matter if you're doing a done for you service. It doesn't matter if you're a coach or consultant or a mentor, okay? So that is the caveat that I want to start us off with. That's ground zero, and then we're gonna flip into this. So the 3 Ps to profit, and if you do have questions, add them below, and we will make sure that I answer them at the end. Jack, thanks so much for your kind words. I'm sure my husband would agree, although I feel a little tired today. So the 3 Ps to profit will help you to simplify so that you gain focus and then you create momentum. So every time that you are thinking, what am I doing this for? Or how am I, producing the results? I want you to think about these 3 Ps. Number 1 is, who is your perfect person? So yesterday's question was about, can you give me some faceless video ideas? And I said, I can, but you need to give me at least a general idea of what's your industry, what's your niche, what's your market, like who do you help? Because if you don't know who you help, then yes, the world is your oyster, but at the same time, that is very, very, very broad. And so I'll give you some real life examples. Here on this YouTube channel, when I look, I can see that there are people watching from ages 18 all the way up to about 55 now. The bulk of them are in my general target market, which has always been 35 to 44. Feels like the Dazed and Confused movie. Like I keep getting older and they stay the same age. But really and truly, like I keep getting older and my target market is still moving into that same bracket of about 35 to 44. Now, does that mean that I can't help people that are 18 and then even older? No, it doesn't. But it means that when I produce content, when I produce offers, when I'm looking at how I can serve my perfect person fits in that bracket. Now, I have it narrowed down to the point where when I describe my perfect person, I know who she is. I know Lily. Like that's who I serve, right? Now, Lily may show up in different forms in real life. Lily has also been, client A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But the point is that if you don't have clear in your mind, who is that person that you are showing up for? Who is it that you have created your products or your services for? Then every time somebody throws, I can pay you, or here's a credit card, like what's the dollar amount? If you have to make accommodations, if you have to bend over backwards, if you have to that's not really how I do this. If they are not your perfect person, then I want you to really just challenge yourself. Should you be doing that for that person? Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? And you're adding more complexity into your business, the more different types of people that you serve. Now, in the earlier stages of your business, that is going to make or break your business success. In the later stages, when you have more momentum, when you have more resources, when you have capacity, when you may have more support in the form of team members, that may be something that you entertain, but you don't necessarily have to. If you want to keep a simple and lean business, then the more focused you are, the more narrow you go, the deeper you can get in terms of the relationships that you're building with your customers, the easier it's going to be for you. So here's an example. I had a client who was a consultant to dental offices for dentists, okay? Now, he had never been a dentist, but he knew how to build businesses, and that's an area where a lot of dentists, they don't know how to build a business. They went to school to be a dentist, not to build a dentist business, right? But for a lot of them, that's how you be successful. You need clients, you need to build a practice, you need to set up an actual shop, right? You need to manage your hygienist and have an office manager and manage your client files and deal with insurance. Like there's all these different moving pieces that frankly, a lot of dentists are not equipped to deal with. And so he would go in and help them. Now, again, sometimes we think, well, I don't have a background doing this. Yes, but if you have an expertise that your target market needs and you know who the target market is, then why are you not offering that service? So he was very, very clear that there was, out of all the dental offices that he could help, there was a very specific type of dental office that was his sweet spot. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is then what is the biggest problem that that perfect person has that you solve? Because that's connected to the third P, which is what's your promise? So your promise has to connect to the problem. If there's no relevance of what it is that you provide in the context of, I'm struggling with this, because people pay for problems. People pay to solve their problems. And if you cannot solve their problem, it doesn't matter how good your offer is. It doesn't matter how great you are. It doesn't matter how much expertise or world knowledge that you have, how many credentials, how many awards, how many clients, and none of it matters. If that does not match your perfect person's ideal situation for how they want that problem solved, if they don't want your solution because the promise that you're delivering isn't something that they're interested in, then it does not matter. So in order to simplify your business, you're always going to come back to these three P's at the core. This is where your profit sweet spot lies. When you have the perfect person that has the problem that you want to solve, that you're equipped to solve, that you have mastery to solve, and that your promise delivers something that they absolutely must have, that they cannot live without, that it is something that they deeply desire, that it solves their burning problem, then you will have a meeting of the minds where those clients will instantly be attracted to what it is that you have, and they will want what it is that you offer regardless of the price point. Okay? Yes, I said regardless of the price point. I want you to think for yourself. If you had your kitchen sink all of a sudden just, would you be comparison shopping? Would you be checking out, do you have a lot of reviews? Do you charge the least amount? Probably not. That is what we call a bleeding neck problem. It means that if you don't deal with this situation, right? Like if you had something and you were bleeding in your neck, it would just be like, if you didn't deal with that, you're gonna bleed out. So whatever it is that's in your business right now, that you would pay whatever you needed to in order to get that solved, there's somebody out there thinking that exact same thing about your solution, about your products and services. But if you're not clear on what that is, and you're so busy putting out all these different fires, making your business way more complicated than it needs to be, then of course it's going to be much more difficult for you to get the kinds of results that you deserve and that you desire. It makes your life a living hell because you're constantly having to reinvent the wheel. You have to customize all of your programs, your packages, your support, your solutions. You cannot use the same things that you've already done or figured out for other clients when you do it this way. It takes you more time, it takes you more resources, it takes more money, and then it makes you exhausted and potentially burn out. We don't want any of that. So the 3 P's is the core, okay? This is my methodology in order to help you to maximize your profits, because if you have one singular type of person, one singular type of problem, and one main promise that you offer in your solution, and you just keep rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Now, in the beginning stages, when you are trying to figure this out, will you need to do a lot of this? Probably, right? But once you have gotten traction and you start to eliminate, right? And I've talked about this, I think on yesterday's video, how to get more of what you want and less of what you don't want, like how to stop attracting the stuff that you don't want. Go and watch that video if that might be helpful for you. The other video that's directly connected to this is the 80-20 rule. Okay, so go and watch that if you need to standardize or get better at how much time you're spending on the things that are producing results. So in the context of the 5 whys, it comes down to one person or one group of people, okay? One category, one offer, which we've talked about in a roundabout way, because when you have your perfect person And then you have your promise and the problem that you solve. That is your offer. Your offer is the bridge between here's my perfect person with the problem, and here is me over on Solution Island with the thing that I've already solved. So your offer is the bridge that takes them from here to here. Okay? Without it, they are stranded over here, trying to figure out their problem on their own. So you have one problem, or you have one person, one group of people. You now have one offer. Okay, one offer. Now, you need to convert them somehow, because when you have people who are interested, you're going to need to figure out, how do I get somebody who might be a potential client to then paying me as a client, as a customer? Because your business is going to depend on sales. Your business is not a business without sales. And even if you're a nonprofit, that is a tax category. Every single business out there, including nonprofits, requires money to run. And as a result, if you don't have money, if you don't have sales, if you don't have people who are willing to pay you, then you will not be in business for very long. Most of us are not independently wealthy that we can afford to just throw money at a sinking ship for a long, long period of time. So you need to figure out the mechanism, the process that will allow people to go from I'm interested in your services, I'm interested in your product, to then buying. Which one is best? I don't know. It's going to depend on you, your personality, the product or service that you offer, and the way that your customers want to buy. When I first started in the online space, I didn't have a lot of background or knowledge with tech, right? I came from the offline world. Big corporate company, millions and millions of dollars worth of budget. And so we had a whole department that took care of all of the tech, all of the marketing, all of that stuff, right? So I didn't need to think about it. I just needed to deal with the clients, face-to-face kind of transactions and interactions. And so when I came into the online space, I already knew that I was at a bit of a knowledge gap. So I leaned into my strengths. Now, even as an introvert, my strengths were I know people. I've been around people my entire life. I've had to interact and serve clients basically from the time I was 7 years old in my parents' store. So even though it was still uncomfortable for me, and as an introvert, it's not something that I volunteer for. Like, I'm not going to be the one that's going out to the party or doing a lot of stuff that my extroverted family members are doing. At the same time, I knew that that was my fastest path to cash and to clients. So what I used as my sales process was conversations, right? I turned connections into conversations. And sometimes you hear this as like dialing for dollars. I've done that too as a teenager. So you don't need to do it any one way. You have to find your way. You need to be able to convert a potential customer into a paying customer and figure out the way that is going to work the best for you. Now, somebody that I know has already crossed the six-figure mark in her life coaching business without really having to master her sales process. But what she's realized is that in order for her to continue to scale, because she works with clients directly one-on-one or in smaller group programs, that at this point, she still needs to have some sort of relationship or some sort of conversation. And nobody has purchased from her that hasn't had one of those, okay? Now, just by sheer luck, by just her marketing, just by her energy and how she shows up, right? Because we can all identify somebody's vibe. Like when you walk into a room and you can sense the energy or the, like just the, people were not very happy in here before. Like if you ever get a sense of that, then you know what I'm talking about. So when you come across in your business as somebody who is needy, who is desperate, who is clingy, or needs the client more than the client needs you, because I want you to remember through all of this that you already have figured this out. And as a result, you are the one who is in power, not your customer. Now, does that mean that we walk all over our customers? Not at all, right? This is a synergistic, consensual, respectful relationship that we're building. But oftentimes money, especially for women, can make you feel a certain way about the interaction. It can make you feel uncomfortable to ask for money. It can make you feel, especially if you need the money, it can make you feel all kinds of stuff. And so what I want you to do is just set that aside for now and just say, if this is the sales process that I'm going to pick, can I at least let go of the heaviness or the weight or the burden or the desperation that if it doesn't end up in a sale, that there's something wrong with how I'm doing this. And sometimes we just need to give it a bit more time. So the story that I'm sharing around the fact that this woman who has already built a successful six-figure business without really having to master the skill set that she's wanting to now scale, she's recognized, I need a solid process. Like I need to solidify this so I have more certainty around what the system looks like. So as I continue to grow and scale, if I wanted to outsource that, if I wanted to delegate that, if I wanted to automate pieces of that, that I have a better handle on what that needs to look like. And so she is asking for help, skills, resources, guides, books, mentors, courses, whatever it is, right? So that is the right approach. The reason why I'm sharing this is because that's the right approach, that once you have identified that this is an area where I need to build up my skill set, that you give yourself permission to learn it and then stick with what you're learning so that you can actually master it. Because we don't learn just by one time doing something. I mean, that's just not the reality of life. Most human beings, we take time because we're slow to change. And so as a result, don't flip-flop because you're impatient or you think that it's not working. Chances are you just haven't given it enough time to work. Okay, so that's number 3 is your conversion mechanism. Number 4 is you need to think about, where am I going to get people from? What is my traffic source? Now that can be paid or it can be organic. Now, a lot of people say it's non-paid, but it's not. You're either paying in time or money or both. And so you're either going to pay to get leads, pay to get eyeballs, pay to get people interested, and you're either going to pay with your money or you're going to pay with time or you're going to pay with both, right? So what's going to work best for you? I don't know. That is a decision that you need to make. But once you've made that decision, again, don't go flip-flopping because you think the grass is greener on the other side. When I started, it was Facebook. I didn't have a Facebook profile. I didn't even know how to use Facebook, even just for funsies. But the reason why I picked it was because I decided, out of all the platforms out there, Facebook's the largest. So the chance that I'm going to find my perfect person is way higher than if I was to go on another platform. Now, for clients who are dealing with more from a corporate standpoint, you should already know LinkedIn is your gal, right? If you're dealing with more visual, so when I have clients who are more in the web design, graphic design, that sort of realm, even makeup and different things with your clothing, then you're going to veer probably closer to Instagram or even Pinterest, although that's not really social media, okay? But it's a traffic source. So I want you to decide, what is the mechanism? What is the platform? Where am I going to find my people? Right? And you can think outside the box. I've had clients where they have just said, I'm not doing any online right now. I have success in person. And so I'm going to use Meetup. I'm going to use my local community. I'm going to create hubs where I can, do lunch and learns and meet and greets and do like training sessions, hands-on for people to come in the room with me, because that's how I work best. So I want you to think for yourself, how do you work best? And where are you going to find your perfect people that are going to be able to connect with you in such a way that they learn more about you, your business, your services, and then double down on that, right? So again, you might have to try a bunch. It's like dating. You might have to speed date, try a whole bunch, and then you realize, you know what? I like that person, and then you go on some more dates, right? They get longer and longer because you're willing to spend more time with that person. So I want you to think for yourself, what is a traffic source that has worked for you in the past? Because if it's worked, why are you switching? Keep doing it until it doesn't work. And too often we go chasing after the shiny object, right? Squirrel syndrome. And we forget about the things that are already working. Keep doing the thing that's working until it doesn't work. okay? Unless there's a fundamental break in your values, in your priorities, okay? Emperor, Emperor, this is live. You can see it at the top. There should be like a red button. We're live, so not pre-recorded. Although there are pre-recorded on the channel, the last 30 or so, we're almost at 30, have all been live. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5 is 1 year. Now, the length of time, some of you are gonna roll your eyes. If it feels too long, what I want you to think about is nothing less than 90 days. Nothing less than 90 days. Because oftentimes we have not given ourselves enough time to implement, to practice, to gain mastery, and to actually collect data. So the first 90 days of any campaign that you roll out is simply for data collection. And you have to be able to let go of any expectation around what you think it should be. So that's going to be the hardest part, because oftentimes when you are a high achiever, when you want results like yesterday, delayed gratification is going to be your best friend here. And delayed gratification is one of the main skill sets or characteristics of a personality that will dictate how successful you will be. Don't believe me? You can go and watch the marshmallow experiment. Here, there should be a video on YouTube where I think it was Yale or Harvard, one of the Ivy League schools, they had done an experiment with small children. And it is very interesting. If you don't know about it and you want me to share a little bit more about what this means in the context of business, then you can put that below in the comments. Just put marshmallow and then I'll know if you want me to expand on this particular example. But for the interest of time and for the interest of just my interest, I'm gonna let you go and watch it on your own, unless, again, somebody really needs it. So 90 days to data, the numbers. All you're doing is for your people, which is number 1, for your offer, which is number 2, for your platform, you are going to only focus on that consistently with a traffic source and your conversion mechanism for 90 days. You're not going to flip-flop. You're not going to change your mind. You're not going to try 5 different things at the same time. You're going to hone in and focus on those 1 things, which are, I know there are 5 1 things, but essentially it is to narrow your focus such that you can deliver and deliver consistently. And this way you can see what works, what doesn't work. What do I like? What do I not like? What do I need to change? But when you flip-flop over the course of days or weeks, is it no wonder that it is becoming harder and harder for you to get results? Now, the huge caveat for this, the huge but that I'm going to put in the air here is you always know yourself, right? Or I hope you know thyself. And if you are struggling with that, go and watch some of the videos on this channel that might be helpful for you, because I've done a lot that are about self-reflection and to help you to really dig into why we do the things we do, why we aren't doing the things that we want to do, and how to gain more clarity and confidence so that you can move forward, right? If you are struggling because you feel like things just aren't working, I want you to go and watch the difference between winners and losers, which is quite a ways down, but that is probably going to be super helpful for you so that you understand the psychology and the difference in how winners see life versus losers. And I'm not saying that you're a loser, but sometimes people around you want to make you feel like you're a loser just simply because you're not getting the results that you want, or even yourself. Sometimes we're our own worst enemies and we get into our own ways, into our own heads, and then we make ourselves even stucker, if that's a word, because we are not able to see the forest for the trees, and because we're not able to take a breath, and we get so down on ourselves because our expectations are way up here. And I don't want you to lower your expectations. I want you to shoot for the stars, right? But at the same time, I want you to know that the journey to get there isn't going to happen necessarily overnight, that there is a proven path for you that's going to work, but you have to figure out where is your proof. And your proof happens with 90 days of data. Okay. Now, I firmly believe in the woo woo, right? The supernatural, the Holy Spirit, and God going like whoosh. And so we still have to put something in place so that God can help us move along and bless us supernaturally. That can accelerate you. So those are unexplainable. Those are going to be outliers from your data. But for you to be able to then grow and scale your business, you have to be able to see what happens when I do this. What happens on this day? And that's part of the reason why, for me, that was an unexpected kind of extra check mark that helped me with this 30 days. It's because I've shared before, this was a challenge for me, right? I do best when I just do stuff. And often when I do stuff for me, it can help somebody else, which is why I share some of these learnings on here openly and honestly, as much as I can, right? Because some stuff I can't divulge or share. But if I only was led by the data, right? This is why I put that big but, pay attention over here. You are still the ruler of you. You are still in charge of you. You still know you. And if that is the case, which I firmly believe and I trust and I know that if you're here, you know what's best for you. You just might get stuck sometimes, right? Because we can get in our own way. But I want you to check in and see, why is that? Why do you believe that? What does the data say, right? And not to say that you're only going to be driven by data, but the data does not lie, right? When I look back on this channel at some of the videos that I thought would get, perform the best, they're not. It was just surprising to me. And then there were other videos that I didn't even think about. And it's, the top producing video. So I'll give you real examples, real numbers. So the number one video from my series, my 30-day series, because we're almost closing in on the number 30, is the video about stop tolerating, right? What do you need to stop tolerating? And I honestly can't even remember what sparked that conversation. It was just genuine. It was a response. It was something that was probably Holy Spirit led, but it also was just a real, genuine conversation. It wasn't optimized for anything on YouTube here. I probably didn't do a ton of research even for the title or the description or anything. It was just off the cuff. It was raw, it was real, it was authentic. It actually follows my, I can't say what the formula is, but just stay tuned. It's the way that I create content, okay? I have a method that I help clients through that I have honed and formulated, and it's been refined. So when I look back, I can see, that's why it took off. But at the same time, there's another video that actually did better in terms of subscriber metrics, right? So it really depends on what it is that you're trying to achieve. If what I was trying to do was to get videos to go viral-ish, right? Which means I need way more views compared to the number of subscribers that I had, then I would be looking for virality. I would be looking for clickbaitiness. I would be looking for titles that would really engage people and create a lot of division, right? Whether it's polarizing, not from a place of like picking a fight, although it can be that way, but that's just not my style. But if I wanted to drive the data around views and optimize for that metric, then there would be a different intention, a different focus, different strategies. And then the data would tell me whether I was meeting that particular objective. When I look at another objective, another data point, which is how many subscribers, because the number of subscribers that I've had in this past 30 days has been exponentially large compared to the years that I've been producing videos, right? And I honestly have not been asking people to subscribe. right? I mention it here and there. And in fact, I probably mention more often than not, please don't subscribe if you don't want these videos, because I don't need you to subscribe just to be nice to me, or just because you feel like if you're not going to watch the videos, then don't subscribe, right? Because it sends a signal. It sends a signal to me, it sends a signal to YouTube, and you don't need the digital clutter. So if I was optimizing for subscribers, then the video that actually produced the best result there had one of the lowest number of views. It is, I can't remember what the full title was, but it was talking about 3 steps, okay? So it only had like 43, give or take, views. And out of that video came 4 subscribers. So 10%, which I don't know if that's good or bad. Like, I don't have any context for that. But for what my channel has done so far, to get 4 subscribers from one single video would be terrible for somebody else. And that's why it's really important that as you assess and you look at how long you're doing things, that you don't prematurely judge yourself, and that you don't, bring down the hammer, so to speak, to say it's not working. How do you know? What are you comparing that to? And instead of comparing it to somebody else, I want you to think, is this as good as my personal best? Am I fulfilling my potential? Because I would hate for you to leave this earth without fulfilling what you have been created for, right? And so that for me is always the driving force. Do I want to help as many people as possible? Yeah, I do. But because I know that that's part of my purpose, that's part of my fulfilling my potential, right? And that when I don't show up for me, I can't show up for you. And so although I would, I literally could spend all day long helping people, talking to people, being on videos, just answering questions, that's not of greatest service to you, because it's not of greatest service to me. So I have to put on my oxygen mask first and look at, how do I define success? What is the most important for me? And the reason why I can do that is because I'm clear on my vision. Now, if you're not clear on your vision, go and grab the link for the workshop. Again, I've decided for my YouTube family here, that until further notice, which it could change, you're going to get the bonus coupon code for $33 instead of having to pay $197 for the entire bundle, okay? Because you get the vision workshop and you get the strategic business planning workshop replay and workbook as well. So it's a $197 value. It actually is being sold for $197, but you're going to get it for $33. Not clear on why you do the things that you do and what it is that you're called to do, you can watch a couple of the videos around purpose or vision. Those might help you as well. But if you're just wasting a lot of time and you know that you should be doing differently, like, better, like, come on. Nobody needs to babysit you, right? Nobody should be like poking and prodding you like you're cowpoke. You might need some help now and then, but at the end of the day, you need to have that internal motivation to just get up and go. And maybe you've fallen down a little bit, and that's okay, because we all have those days, we all have those moments, but you got to get up the next day, right? Joy always comes in the morning. So if that's you, go and watch some of the videos on this page that are all about success, sustainability, burnout, right? I would skim through and just look at what are some of those topics that are calling to you, that really just jump out at you, and then go and watch it. And more importantly, because almost every single video that I have, there is an action item. There is something that you're actually going to be doing with me live on the video or after the video as a result of you watching. Don't just consume boatloads of information with no change or transformation. Everything should help shift you, right? And sometimes the shift happens here. It happens here in order for then you to see it out there in your hands even, right? Like, your mind is the thing that leads your whole life. Your mind is connected to your heart. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when you're speaking the things that you do or don't want to do, and then you're wondering why I'm not doing them, watch your mouth. Look at where your mind is going. Where is your focus? Where is your attention? and then narrow it down. So on this video, we talked about my 3 Ps, which is it's basically, if you just focus on those 3 Ps as a business owner for your profit, it will make you more money. And then you apply the 5 ones. Okay. That will easily take you to your first 100K, your first 1 million. And even if you wanted to, it would take you to 10 million, right? It does not need to be complicated, does not need to be complex. If you want to know my journey, because I've put it on this page, I can't remember what I titled it. If you need it, just message me or comment and I'll send you the link in the comments. I have done a full breakdown of when I started my online business, what I offered, and more importantly, why I offered it. Because I think sometimes it's more important to know why you do something as opposed to what you're doing. Because the what is not really relevant unless you know the context. And oftentimes we're chasing after the what of what people are doing and even the how-tos of what people are doing. But if you don't understand why they're doing it, if your why is different, or your reasons are different, or your understanding is different, because you expected their result, you expected their outcome, you expected it to look the way that it looks for them, and not understand why it doesn't look the same for you. Make sense? Okay, so Miguel, hello, welcome, friend. Okay, so Miguel is saying, I'm worried that artificial, and if you have any questions, you can add them below. I'm done my formal teaching part or sharing. I'm worried that artificial intelligence will take away the work of many business people and destroy meaningful interactions between customers and employees. What do we need because of this danger? You need to be more human. That's the simple answer. So can I make it more complex? Sure I can. Can I give you some more color? Sure I can. And I can do that for you here. So number one, don't be afraid, because if we look back through time, technology and advancements in innovation have moved people forward into areas that we never expected. So if we look back at Ford produced the first vehicle, and he has been quoted many times as saying that if he had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse, because that's what they were used to, right? When the computer was first created, nobody could imagine the opportunity or the fact that this would be widespread. In fact, people literally said, nobody's going to use this. When Apple first created their first product, BlackBerry was the leader in the industry. And BlackBerry, the CEO, is on record saying, nobody's going to want to type on a screen. No one's going to want to do that. And yet here we are, where we have TVs, right? We have TVs in our houses where if it doesn't have a touch screen, we're almost like, what's going on? What's the use of this TV, right? Am I the only person that as soon as I get to a screen anywhere, you're trying to touch the stuff and be like, okay, why isn't this working? So we don't need to be afraid of technology, and we don't need to be afraid of limited opportunities. If anything, it's going to increase the requirement for human beings and the requirement for humanity to rise up to the occasion and to be more human. And that means that we no longer get to just pretend that, I don't want to word this, Holy Spirit. We need to function in line with how we were created, right? So AI is not creative. AI will take the stuff that you have and use the inputs, but it cannot create something, at least not yet, completely brand new. Only you and I can do that. Only you and I have imagination to the point where we can create brand new things out of thin air. AI has to rely on what's already been done to look for patterns, to look for clues, to synthesize the information, and then be able to discern different pieces. So it looks like it's coming up with new stuff, but it's not. You and I are the only ones that can come up with brand new creations because we're made in the image of our maker. And so when we look at artificial intelligence and thinking about this is going to remove opportunity. No, what it's going to do, it's going to create pressure such that if people are lazy, right? If people are lazy and they're relying on just the way that things have always been, if they are doing mindless tasks and thinking that they're going to get paid really, really well for those types of tasks that a robot can do, we're required to synthesize information in a way that computers cannot, because that's essentially what that is. AI is just a fancy computer. Your brain is the most remarkable computer that has ever been created and will ever be created. There is no way to recreate what God has already created in us. And that means that regardless of how advanced AI gets, it cannot replace you. And that's why even right now, as good as the AI is, and it will just keep improving, but here's the thing, human beings will keep improving too, right? We're not gonna be left behind. We're the ones doing the creating. So we are still ahead, and we will always be ahead because we are still going to be evolving. When you think that you're being left behind, it's because you are not allowing yourself to evolve into a new paradigm, into a new creation, into a new story or situation of a better future. Now, will that better future come with repercussions? Absolutely, because there's two sides to every coin. But I choose to believe that there will be people that will act responsibly, and that the people who don't act responsibly, that there will be gatekeepers, there will be watchmen, there will be whistleblowers that pull down the curtain, so to speak, and say, this is not allowed, right? Like, we cannot have AI do this, this, and this, because we are still the ones in charge. And we cannot be, and that's why I said we cannot grow lazy, we cannot grow complacent, that just because AI is available doesn't mean that we can and should use it for all the different ways that it can be used. We still need to use wisdom. We still need to be human beings first and look at the best use cases and also the worst use cases. What happens if this AI is in the hands of somebody who does not have morals, who does not have the character, who is trying to use it to take advantage of people? There will always be those outliers. And so we need to manage that. We need to decrease the risk, but we also can't not take hold of it, because that is where the future is moving. So our best line of defense is to get ahead of it, to get in front of it, is to learn how to use it, how to maximize the use of the tools to enhance the way that we are as human beings, so that you're not being drowned out by rote sorts of activities. Does this make sense? So it's like the fast fashion, right? And then it's swung back, and there's a lot of people who are looking at repurposing, reusing, reducing. Now, I grew up in the 80s, 90s, where this was the brand new thing that showed up, was we're going to reduce, reuse, recycle. And then it became into massive consumerism, and now we're swinging back the other way. The ecosystem of the earth. So that was a whole conversation. Miguel, it was a great question that you asked. Probably needs more dialogue than just still very new days, early stages. And part of this is we're going to have to wait and see. But what I would recommend for any business owner that is looking at, so I've been using AI in my business, since 2017 actively. Just in life, as soon as I could, because I've been I had Palm Pilots back in the day. I'm probably aging myself, but that's okay, right? So I'm an early adopter. And that means that I tend to work very quickly to adopt to the new idea. I got in on ChatGPT before anybody else in the mass market kind of had access. When everybody was trying to get in and they were like, I can't get in, I can't get in. I stopped for a bit because of privacy concerns until they could get that controlled. So there's ways to be able to do this in a meaningful way. So this is going to be like a double-winded answer. We need more time, and it's going to move quickly over that course of time. But we also need more human intelligence. We need more human intelligence. We need humans who are really good at what they do to keep doing what they do, because the robots won't replace you. If you are a craftsman at whatever it is that you do, right? Like the work of your hands, the work of your mind, those sorts of things will never go out of style. I've seen so many people that are like, well, I'm a graphic designer, I'm out of work. Okay, if you're comparing yourself or positioning yourself to a service like Canva, then yeah, you're out of work, right? Yeah, you're out of work. But if you're positioning yourself as a specialist that can only do what you do because you see certain things where you can transform what your clients are describing and how they show up, and you look at what they're doing and you can combine all of these things, and then boom, like there's the design, it comes to life, and they're like, wow, oh my God, it's even better than I imagined. Like right now, there is no AI tool that can do that for that perfect customer, right? Now, that might not apply to everybody. That's okay. If you go back to the beginning of this video, I started this teaching, this training, this conversation with, who are you serving? It needs to be one specific perfect person. Not everybody, because not everybody needs you. Not everybody needs your services and would receive the value that you have. And when you hone in on that and then you let go of the rest, it makes it much, much easier for you to have this conversation with yourself and with your potential customers, and also to command premium prices. Not because you're gouging them, but because you are differentiating yourself from any other service in the market. Make sense? Okay? You're welcome, Miguel. Okay. Any other questions that I can answer for you, make sure that you add them below. If you happen to be catching late and you add your question, comment below, I will be sure to come back in and where appropriate, because I want to make sure, because I might not be able to answer your question, but if it's appropriate and if I have something meaningful, valuable that can help your resource, then I absolutely will do that, and just make sure that you add them below. If there is anything else that I can help you with and it's a little bit more private in nature, feel free to message me over on Instagram at Susan McVeigh. So we will be back tomorrow. Okay, I can't remember what day 30 is. We're getting very, very close. And I had shared yesterday, I'm probably going to share a couple more times. If you have enjoyed these daily live videos, can you let me know? Like put a 1 in the comment, give a thumbs up. It helps me to understand, because the intention of this was not necessarily for anything other than me. Selfishly, I needed to reinvigorate my creativity, my joy for all things business, not just YouTube, to do something new and in a different way, because I've done YouTube videos, but this is a new way for me to do them, to not have a plan, to be completely surrendered to whatever, God and his divine plan is and was, and to just see what happens. And there's a lot of freedom in that. There's a lot of fear in that as well, because it's wide open and very structured. And for any Myers-Briggs aficionados, I'm an INTJ. So I'm an architect. So when I think through things, I want to have a plan. I want to have, here's it all mapped out. And I usually have things very structured. This was very much I have 30 days every day. I'm not sure exactly, but they kind of lead one to the next, or I wait and I get a divine inspiration. So if you have enjoyed this series, if you have thoughts on whether or not I should continue, I would love to hear from you, because this has now been part of the journey and part of the conversation. I've enjoyed having so many of you repeat and visit on multiple shows. So, number 1, do you actually watch daily? Do you watch daily? Because for some people, it's a lot. For me, it's a lot. I never it's helpful. Now, I can't guarantee that those are the topics that I'm going to focus on, but I know that part of my next steps, I would not get unlocked to until I finish doing what I said around this first step. Now, that's a word for somebody out there, where sometimes you want to have plan 10, like plan step 10, and the journey shifts and changes, right? I just shared a couple of things on here that were very surprising to me looking at the data points, that I thought that there were certain topics that would resonate more, that there would be either more comments or more likes or more views or just more interest. And part of that could just be my lack of skill set around optimizing the titles, the descriptions, and all that stuff. But I've also shared pretty openly that that was not my main focus. My main focus wasn't to have these videos kind of pop off. It was just, I need to go live. I need to create this habit. I need to just like allow myself to have the freedom to just say whatever I want and to talk about whatever it is that kind of called to me in that moment, and then to go, right? So not overthinking things, just going into the doing motion, and to do it from a place of complete faith and surrender. And looking at the data, if I only looked at the data, then it would skew the story. And so there's a lot of different variables that I'm considering as I now think about what's the next steps. And then I wait for guidance to see, does it match with my intention and my plan and what my desire is. Lives so you can keep up, lol. Yes, I fully understand, right? And they're always here. I'm thinking about putting on creating playlists out of the videos that I have so far, because there definitely are some themes that make sense for them to be grouped together, and then potentially just pulling out some snippets from each one and putting them on YouTube Shorts, like just so that if you need like a quick bite, it's kind of there. And again, I would use AI tools for that because I have them. And that's the beauty of using automations and some of these tools that have made life a little bit simpler and faster and easier to be able to do the things so that I can help more people, right? Because that's the ultimate goal. So thank you, Naya, for your thoughts, your comments on that. I did make a comment because I don't know if you were able to grab I don't think you were able to grab the vision workshop. I'm still leaving that up for anybody who is part of my YouTube community, that it is on the coupon code for the $33 for the bundle. You won't see that on the regular website though. So if you don't grab it using the special coupon or the link for it, then you will be paying $197 for the bundle. So if you want it, I'm going to add it into the video description for this one. I think I've been trying to add it to most of the videos so that it's available for you there. Okay, so we will be back tomorrow. I think we're getting, if it's not day 29 or 30 tomorrow, we're getting very, very close. So anything else, add them below and I will come back and answer for you shortly. Okay, we're gone. I hope you have a great night and we will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.